took a step back off the platform. Crocker signalled with a minute inclination of his head to his second son, who pressed a lever. The platform dropped. The wheel was plunged into a trough of water. Fierce plumes of steam rose, hissing and bubbling, from the tempering trough. And now there came a loud knocking and cracking from under the water, as the metal tyre contracted and squeezed the component parts of the wheel impossibly tight together, driving the spokes into position. The men stood. The boy listened slack-mouthed to the sounds like those of a ghost rapping out a message for him. The banging muted and gradually ceased, as the blacksmiths stood by, and the boy's father peered till the water was still and the forge was silent. The first of 4 wooden wheels stifled into submission. January 1911. The boy walked through the cold darkness behind his father and older brother, Fred. None spoke, but at the farm, Fred went to the other stable. Albert lit hurricane lanterns. The boy heard his cousin Herbert's footsteps as he came running towards them. Herbert appeared out of the dark and went directly to the feed-room. Into the barrow he shovelled chaff and oat flour. The boy assisted him, pitching mangolds into the pulping machine whose handle Herbert turned. When it was done, he added the pulp to the chaff. The boy mixed it up as best he could with a fork. Then Herbert wheeled the barrow to the stable and went from one stall to the next, shovelling the horses' breakfast into their feeding troughs. The boy's father, Albert, came into the stable with a dense wodge of hay balanced on his head. He climbed the ladder into the tallet loft. From there, the carter pitched summer-scented hay into the mangers, whistling through his teeth to his horses below. With their lips, they pulled wisps and strands of the fodder through the wooden racks.
"Seeing as you was here, boy, you can give him some corn. Give Noble double."
The boy opened the metal bin. The clanking of the lid caused each of the horses to turn towards the sound. The biggest cart horse, Red, was nearest. In the cold stall he exhaled, and his breath poured in 2 plumes from his nostrils. The boys scooped the corn. They walked back to the cottage. The boy's mother, Ruth, gave them bread and boiled bacon. They ate in silence, the numb parts of their bodies tingling back to painful feeling. Ruth adjusted the wick of the paraffin lamp upon the table as light seeped into the room. This table upon which the doctor had removed Fred's tonsils some years back. The boy searched for the bloodstain. Perhaps it was no longer there. Albert drained his mug of tea.
"The ploughs won't lead themselves,"
he said, and stood up. Fred stood too. They took up their cruist bags that Ruth had placed upon the table and left. The boy Leo followed. His mother did not try to stop him, but said that his sister Kizzy would bring his lunch to school, and that he'd best not be late again or he'd feel the switch from Miss Pugsley, and his mother would not object. In the tack room, the boy watched his father gather implements. A heavy plough spanner, whipcord, thongs of leather to repair harness, shut links to mend the plough traces. He placed these in a canvas basket. Horse nail stubs to fix spreaders, cart nails for cleats to hold the plough wheels for a time. Herbert geared up 2 of the horses, Red and one of the 2-year-old black geldings, Cole, as requested by his carter. Albert applied grease to the mouldboard of the plough, and they set off as light seeped into the world around them.
"Give you a leg up,"
Albert told his son. The boy sat sidewise atop Red, the near-side horse. Albert walked next to him. He carried a plough paddle, using it as a walking stick, though none was needed. His corduroy trousers were tied with string below the knee. Herbert chose not to follow this fashion. The carter's and his lad's cruist bags hung from Red's hames.
"Not a bleeding cloud above us,"
Herbert called from behind.
"Clean and raw today."
They reached higher redlands, a pasture to be ploughed for corn. The boy rolled onto his stomach and slid off the cart horse. Herbert hung their bags from the branch of an elm tree by the gate. Albert set the plough. When Herbert was ready, Albert handed him the paddle.
"Aim for that ash tree in yon edge," he said. "Red steady, but if Cole lags, crack the whip." "Yeah, Gaffer, I knows that." "Don't touch him, mind. Just crack